What is a truth you don't like accepting about yourself? My fear of being judged in a situation suppresses my genuine thoughts about things, and it can make me awkward, unfunny, or seem like I'm trying way too hard. It's like all social interactions have some sort of performative aspect to them, and that thought is constantly broadcasted on some primal level of my consciousness. It causes me to cringe at myself before I even do anything. This typically occurs when I'm around anyone I'm uncomfortable with, and if I do forget about it, and something suddenly happens to draw my attention back to the meta of a given social situation, the feeling tends to double down. I'm not even antisocial, which makes it worse because I genuinely like interacting with people, but it sabotages a large amount of interactions for me and makes it hard to make friends. This is me too. For me, it's like I'm trying to view myself in third person versus first person. Instead of being present/in the moment of a social situation, I'm trying to objectively observe myself and the interactions I have in the situation. I often come off awkward because I'm so hyper-focused on how I want to be perceived that I can't be myself. Let me give you advice in the form of a quote by David Foster Wallace. You'll worry less about what people think about you when you realize how seldom they do. People are always stuck inside their own heads. Once you realize how little people are judging you because they only think about how others judge you, similar to how you feel now, your eyes will open to a comfortable social world. We are the same person. In my 33 years of life I can't seem to get past this. Here's hoping it happens by my 40s. Do you constantly assess every single word and move of yours? If someone asks you a question or interacts with you out of the blue, do you usually have a split moment where you're like, I wonder what the appropriate response is? Do these responses feel fake or staged? Do you not trust your social skills because they all feel a bit off, and do you worry about people noticing that you're not quite there sometimes? Anything you've done that seems to help you get out of the social meta and into what's being communicated? I'm constantly plagued with the idea of fearing failure, but I am then constantly being lazy and then panic when I see others moving ahead. Edit. Thanks for the comments, upvotes, and awards, especially the comments. Holy shit, you are me. I graduated with my business degree last fall but have yet to leave my full-time grocery store job because I'm good at it and it pays the bills. I'm so afraid I'm going to suck at and fail any new job I get and then lose my stable source of income, so I just keep putting off applying. I've been using the pandemic as an excuse, but in reality it's my anxiety about failure. Meanwhile all my friends are making good money in real jobs while I'm still stuck as a wage slave making $13 an hour. Can't fail if you never actually try. Taps head. This has been something that I've been slowly overcoming. It's difficult but it can be done. If you ever feel inadequate, behind, or unskilled, in that moment do something, anything that can help push you towards the excellence you're looking at or observing. The sheer fact that you did anything at all, even if it's tiny, means you made a larger effort than a lot of other people. When you compare yourself to others who are more skilled, what do you think is more productive? 1. Feeling bad about how unskilled you are. 2. Using other people's expertise as a goal rather than thinking of it as a crutch. An example that I can personally give is how I am currently learning how to 3D model and texture things. At one point in my life, I had literally zero idea how to do anything involving that. Now, I have a really solid understanding, albeit still amateur, of how to create a 3D model and texture it. All because I decided to change to mindset number 2. Find someone who inspires you. Find anyone who is better than you and take it as a challenge. You'll quickly find that being upset with yourself will only hold you back. I don't treat my body well and I have a lot of crutches that will impact me later in life. Alcohol, nicotine, caffeine, sedentary lifestyle, and pornography. I feel you, man. I have the exact same issue. If you can off the booze, do it. Don't end up like me. It really isn't a place you want to be. To be fair, the modern life doesn't really support a healthy lifestyle. I can't really do my job without at least 8 hours in front of a computer, and then still need enough time to prepare healthy meals, take care of my kid, exercise, do a bunch of chores, go to therapy, and get enough sleep. Yeah, no. Long, kinda unnecessary post, but I've had the same feelings a ton. I honestly went through this a few years ago. Smoking weed from the minute I woke up, to the moment I went to bed, every day for about 5 years. I also went through a rough patch where I drank and took benzos in the middle of the day, while still smoking weed, so I was blacking out / passing out midday, consistently. I literally only have like 2 memories from 2015 because I was constantly drunk and high. I even started taking a high dose of doxylamine, sleeping med, during the day, which made my body pulsate and made me feel super out of it. I thought I was pretty much just fucked, but I actually was able to quit much easier than I expected. I literally thought this was only gonna end when I overdosed or something, but I just kinda stopped with all the drugs I was taking, at different times. I stopped the pills and started only drinking at night, but continued smoking weed constantly. I stopped drinking and just kept smoking weed. Then when I turned 21, it had been about a year or 2 since I had drank at all, so I stopped smoking weed and started to casually have 1 to 3 drinks on some / most nights, usually just to relax after work or to have some fun playing games with my friends. I eventually quit hard liquor, so all I had was beers for a while. Then one day, I just kind of quit. My dad has issues with alcohol and I clearly have an addictive personality, so I decided that I didn't want to be like my dad, which gave me the willpower to become sober. I went from being constantly high, to constantly blacked out, to occasionally high, to casually drinking, to being completely sober. I honestly used to feel like there was no hope for me, but I don't know, somewhere along the way I just quit everything and it wasn't as bad as I had expected. Unfortunately, during all of that shit I also got addicted to kratom and nicotine. I was able to quit both, but quitting the kratom absolutely sucked and I had restless legs for weeks. Unfortunately, I started taking kratom again about a year ago, so I'm completely addicted again. I'm gearing up to quit, but I'm really not looking forward to it. It's gonna save me a ton of money and get rid of the brain fog I've been having, but it's gonna be a miserable couple of weeks. I'm also addicted to nicotine, Juul only, but I'm planning on quitting. Honestly, for me, quitting alcohol, pills, and weed were much easier than quitting either kratom or nicotine, though the first time I quit nicotine I just stopped and that was that. Last time I tried didn't work out well, lol. I also still enjoy psychedelics from time to time and I drink kava somewhat frequently, but I feel those aren't nearly as bad as alcohol or constantly smoking weed. If you feel the desire to quit, then I think you'll be able to do it. It seems like it's going to be much worse than it actually is. Of course you can say I just kind of traded addiction for addiction, but slowly getting to less intrusive substances helped me to quit. If you don't know what kava is, it might be worth looking into. It's just a plant that you make into a drink. With the right dose, it can feel like alcohol, but you don't feel nearly as fucked up. It's just a nice alternative to alcohol that won't make you black out. I recommend doing research, or messaging me, if you're at all interested. I'm not funny. Can you make yourself laugh though? Don't try too hard. People that are obviously trying to be funny in social situations are immediately obvious and it undermines the thing they said, even if it was actually a good joke. Usually you'll end up forcing the joke when it doesn't really work, and that is clumsy and a bit cringy. It is possible to learn comedy. Most great comedians are very intelligent and have worked hard to craft their act, even if the act seems dumb. Watch stand-up and sketch shows. If something makes you laugh, think about what the comedian or show did. It usually comes down to timing, structure, subverting expectation, callbacks, or breaking taboo. Knowing your audience is another thing. I have a very dark sense of humor born of working in computer forensics, where seeing incredibly sick shit all day kinda develops it as necessity. But I also like lighter stuff. Dark comedy will slay some people but absolutely revolt others. I don't tell my prudish mumsnet friend my pedo jokes. I'm paralyzed with indecision and feel like I keep making panic moves. Edit. Wow, thank you for all the responses and awards. So many of you have provided advice that is thoughtful and kind. I've got 130 and notifications and I'm trying to respond to most. I understand. Do you have any other tendencies towards anxiety? You sound like Chidi from The Good Place. Can you give an example? In my experience, when I get emotional over things that seem trivial, it's because they are standing in for much bigger things. They're like the understudies for the real issues. This is what I try and do when I find myself being like that, upset because that person didn't say you're welcome fast enough when I said thank you. Nah, you're not upset about that. You're upset because you feel like you did the right thing and weren't acknowledged. You don't like feeling unacknowledged because it makes you feel ignored. You don't like ignored because it makes you feel like you don't matter. And you hate feeling like you don't matter, because all the traumatic shit you've pushed through in life, a lot of it has been done to you by people showing you through their actions/abuse that you don't matter and what you want or say is irrelevant. Does that make sense? These feelings may be triggered by something that seems really trivial, but a lot of the time if you dig down asking yourself why does that matter, you find some core truths. And peace as well. Edit. My thanks for the awards. How kind. For those of you asking, okay well, then what? I have a response to that below. But to give you the short summary, positive self-talk to redirect your energy from feeding the trigger, to feeding a more positive activity. Great advice, but how do I do that then, Agon? You ask. Here is what I posted in answer to another user. Good question. So the next thing I try to do is some positive self-talk. It helps me because after I recognize the trigger, I redirect the energy I am feeding it, to something that is more productive. I worked on this short mantra with a therapist a few years ago. It's designed to contradict a lot of unhelpful thought patterns I have, namely that I am worthless, that I shouldn't expect nice things, and that I am unlovable. My mantra is I am worthwhile. I am worth looking after. I love myself. I say this, sometimes quietly under my breath, to myself several times in a row so I can short-circuit any patterns of thought that say yeah, that woman who didn't say you're welcome was right. You're a piece of shit and you don't deserve jack squat, stop whining, etc, etc, etc. You can make your own mantra like this. And you're very welcome to use mine. When I started doing this, I repeated it to myself hundreds of times a day. Literally hundreds. I had to, I was in so many destructive patterns. Drinking, drugs, emotionally destructive and very difficult to be around. I would say it to myself all the way on my walk from home to the bus stop. To every negative thought or welling up of emotion, when I noticed them during the day. All the way back from the bus stop home. And again 10 times before sleep. It really, really helped. I'm lazy and have no discipline. This is mine. If I have no structure, I just don't get anything done. I've had jobs with little to no supervision along with being 100% commission. I always failed. But if I have a job that I have scheduled tasks that must be met, I crush it. I could write a PhD about lying in bed, if it wasn't for the fact that I'm lazy. I hate when people say just underscore because just doing it is exactly the problem. You can train yourself, be more disciplined. I can naturally be mean if I don't think carefully before I speak. I felt this hard. What do you do to prevent this besides thinking before you speak? Sometimes I just respond quick with close friends so I'm not sure if I'm coming off in a jerk or cocky. I don't know if it's the tone or what I say. The fact that you are aware of this makes you so much better than a lot of other people who will go around and be mean without even realizing what they're doing. Recognition is the first step to improvement, and the fact that you're willing to improve makes you a better person. Go you. What do you mean by being mean? Saying some unnecessary critique or judgmental thought? Or you mean saying honest but well-intentioned things but without tact? Same. And my naturally sarcastic tone heavily implies I'm being condescending too. I am a very overbearing person. I don't trust many people, I don't even like many people, but the few I do like, I find it very difficult to not try and involve myself in every part of their life, and get upset when they don't like that. I like to tell myself, and them, that it's because I care, and want the best for them, and for them to be happy, but I do understand how overbearing and annoying that can get. Hi, you sound a lot like someone I love deeply. She grew up with a judgmental narcissist mother, and as a result has a very anxious attachment style. It can present very much like you describe. It's so good that you are seeing these things in yourself, and recognizing that it's pushing friends away. Just from my experience, I would recommend studying codependency. Once you understand why you are doing things, you can begin to make different choices that may result in more fulfilling relationships. Sometimes to show love, is to show restraint. If I read between the lines of your comment, I'm leaning towards advising you to get out there and meet new people. Obviously in the COVID time this can be a bit difficult, but starting online is a great way to do so. Trust is something that needs to come from two ways. If you, by default, don't trust a person, they will have a hard time returning the favor. Therefore, you have to ask yourself, where do these trust issues come from? Talk to a professional if you don't know or struggle to find out. They will be able to help you tackle the issue at its core. I am not special or more talented than anyone else, I am literally more or less average. I guess it's not bad, I don't hate it, but doesn't mean I like it. That's at least 3 billion of us I guess. I don't know how old you are, but I've met people who discovered hidden talents in their mid-20s and older. One of them was my dad, who learned how to cook after getting married at 26, discovered he actually loved it, and eventually did a 2-year international cuisine course. Everyone is average, better, or worse at certain things when compared to other people. What are some things you really enjoy doing? Hobbies. Work. Passion. Since people are not numbers, you cannot average them. There is no average person, everyone is a bit better in some fields and a bit worse in others. I give up very easily. I used to be a great student in school, not just with studies but everything else as well, because I'm a fast learner. But that didn't teach me the value of hard work because everything came easy. And now, in everything I do, if I fail, I just give up. Edit, thank you to everyone who replied. I'm so glad I posted this because I have gotten some great advice here, and the fact that I'm not alone makes me feel a little better. Thank you. Also thanks for all the awards. They make me feel all fuzzy inside. The only thing you have to ask yourself in these situations is, what is at stake? Is it worth trying again? Was it not worth it to start it in the first place? Sometimes losing big time is the lesson you need to value the little things in life. If you haven't experienced such things, my advice to you is to start reading a bit more into philosophy. Stoicism is a great place to start. Good luck, my friend. I'm exactly the same. Also, I'm really afraid of failure, so sometimes I feel overwhelmed before even trying something. This is a common problem for intellectually gifted people who don't have the proper support growing up. It's also common for others to assume that gifted children don't need as much help, or any help at all, because they figure the kids have the internal resources to find their own way. The reframing that seems to have helped me in adulthood was to dissociate my identity from any sort of notion of giftedness, including being a quick learner. The global statements of who I'm supposed to be or what I'm supposed to be capable of seemed counterproductive to higher achievement. Being a person is inherently complex, and we are more than these short taglines we attach ourselves to as children and young adults. Focus on work ethic. It's okay for others to be better than me at some task or skill. I just need to be better than where I'm at right now, and that requires deliberate, prolonged effort. Challenge myself by developing specific skills. The more specific, the better. This allows me to focus in on what exactly is blocking or slowing personal growth. Accept that failure is a necessary part of the learning process and is a sign of progress. I find this to be especially true when dealing with deep problems and social dynamics. Stop avoiding the uncomfortable. The areas of personal development that make me uncomfortable make me want to rationalize why I don't need to do those things, but that's a strong indicator that it's what I should be doing over other things. I can somehow relate. I was, and still, a fast learner, and people always used to call me smart or stuff like this. I always used to be in top 3 in class and be a hard worker as fuck. Fast forward to now. I have no energy to do anything. Last year I didn't even go to my exam. I have one in a month and I don't think I'll prepare anything for it. As they say, I used to be warrior like you till I got attacked in the knee. There are too many things in life that give enough of a dopamine hit that it's easy to fall into the trap of giving up on harder, more rewarding endeavors. Frustration is the gate between you and an endogenous blast of feel-good chemicals that will rewire your brain into one that accomplishes difficult things. Push through frustration enough times and that feeling becomes the motivator. You can recondition your brain to like failure. I'm 18 now and wonder what had happened to me. Since I went to school at 8 I was the best at everything. Football, maths, English, not native. People liked me and found funny. Now I'm lazy, can't get anything done. Quickly give up. No luck in relationship because I'm scared. I had no idea why, but you might be right. I was ahead of other kids and life was really easy. Now you have to work and try. Thanks for watching. If you could like, subscribe and comment best Reddit stories for more Reddit videos.